Kelly Ghaisar says back in November 2017, Park police officers told her son was involved in a shootout. She says she only learned the truth after watching the news and dash cam video released by Fairfax County Police, who were also on the scene.
I pray to Bijan every day to help me a better person and not sink into anger and despair.
A mother's strength and continued advocacy nearly 3 years after losing her only son. Bijan Ghaisar was 25 years old when he was shot and killed by Park police after leaving the scene of a fender bender on the GW Parkway. According to court records, Ghaisar was shot 10 times as he sat in his car unarmed. Today, his mother took her fight to Capitol Hill in a virtual hearing before the House Natural Resources Committee on body cameras and Park Police.
Body cameras do one important job. One job. They give us the truth.
The United States Park Police did.
But in a July hearing before the committee, Acting Chief Gregory Monahan said the Park Police are, quote, not in a position to adopt body cameras.
Why would they, when they can literally get away with murder without them?
Park Police would not comment on Ghaisar's testimony. The two officers who fired the deadly shots were never charged and have been on paid leave since April 2018.
$150 to about $1,500 per hardware per officer. So if you're talking 1,000-person department, you're talking about 1,000 pieces of hardware, multiplying it by that amount.
I was surprised to hear so much discussion of cost at this hearing. Cost of what? Cost of a life?
Exactly. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I am appalled.
I reached out to Park Police about today's hearing. I'm still waiting for a response. Ghaisar's family has filed a civil suit against Park Police. The FBI is investigating. Bijan Ghaisar, WUSA 9.